guys, it's April, and I have a quick review for you. So I will do this review the same way I do all of my other reviews, with the non-spoiler section up front, followed by a possible word dump of things that will probably contain spoilers afterwards. And as always, I will let you know when that happens, because I don't want you to spoil yourself if you don't want to. So I was given a free copy of Corpse Cold in exchange for an honest review, and that is what this is right here. And trust me, this does not hinder my thoughts in any way, shape, or fashion. Corpse Cold is a new American folklore anthology that are very reminiscent of scary stories to tell in the dark. As soon as I saw the illustrations of this anthology, I'm like, yes, please. I love how dark and eerie all of them are. Each of these short stories contains either a full page or a half page of illustrations that go along with the story that I think I probably spent more time looking at the illustrations than reading the actual stories. Each short story takes elements of true stories, of folklores that have been told over and over again, and modernizes them in a way that sometimes is very, very creepy. Now, these stories aren't particularly complicated or hard to read or get into. They read very, very quickly. They do feel a lot like those scary stories that you read in middle school just to scare yourself and your friends at a sleepover party. Now, some of these stories do contain adult content and adult language, but they still read at a very, very simple level. And I like that, and I didn't like that. I almost wanted a little bit more. I wanted them to reach up to the creep factor of the illustrations inside. And yes, some of the stories did, but some of them I questioned, what did I even just read and why is it considered creepy? It was just odd. Overall, I did enjoy reading all of these stories. There's something that I think would be really, really fun to read with a group of friends if we're just hanging out one day and it's dark out and maybe we've had a drink or two. But overall, they did have a creepy vibe. Maybe not as creepy as I wanted, but it was there, and the illustrations just carried me through these stories. So if you like the old school scary stories to tell in the dark, I highly recommend that you pick this up, if just for the nostalgic factor. I had some of those old feelings while reading this. Like, I remember being in middle school and hiding under the covers and reading these kind of stories and freaking myself out. So like I said, pick up this book, tell me what you think, and yes, I will forever be gazing at these illustrations and wanting full prints. Now, this is the point in which I just start babbling endlessly about things that were in my brain as I was reading the story, so if you haven't read these stories yet, I recommend that you leave and come back and we can start a dialogue over all the things that we found creepy or interesting inside of these stories. So I don't really have a lot to say after reading all of these stories. Some of them didn't really stick with me enough to have any kind of opinion on. But the thing that stood out to me most is that this anthology isn't necessarily all creepy stories. Some of them are just mind benders and maybe you should think before you act kind of stories. And yes, I did find a lot of similar tropes and themes and things from stories that I remember reading and having told to me when I was younger, especially the ones about the girls trying to get even and ending up killing their own friend. So overall, these stories weren't anything big or new in any way. I think what really, really attracted me to these stories is the illustrations. And they're probably something that maybe if I read again and it's the right atmosphere and the right time for me to read them, they might creep me out a little bit more. But overall, I wasn't quite at the creep level I wanted to be with how these illustrations set me up. Maybe I'm just finding a balance between expectations of the illustrations and expectations of the story. But yeah, overall I did enjoy this read. Tell me down below if you have read these stories, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.